Hey everybody, I'm actually starting this video by showing you this awesome drafting table. It's like 30 by 40 inches and I got it off Facebook Marketplace for $60. And it's like in mint condition. And I looked on his Facebook page and the guy is an amazing artist. He draws, and I can't draw, so maybe the powers of his drawing will come through the table into me. But anywho, this is what I'm working on right now. So hopefully not working on the floor will be more comfortable to me. So I've got, this is cut up canvas. I've got some alcohol inks, some texture paint, all sorts of stuff. So a bunch of stuff going on there. But I'm super excited about the table. All right. So this is the swipe that I did in my last video. I like it. It's so soft. Be perfect for the beach house I'll have one day. All right, hang on. Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh, my body's not wanting to work today. So, Elise Fournier, I'm not sure on her last name, but I was watching one of her videos, and she pipes in a bunch of white paint underneath her color, which gives a similar, with my white negative space, I know in the video hers did the same thing, where there's a little bit of color over the white. And had she torched it right then, it would have been like how mine are, where all these ugly cells come up. She did not torch. So therefore, none of those ugly mess of cells came up. And I commented, I said, "You don't torch." And she said sometimes, but on that one she didn't, and it dried flat. So I'm going to do a twist and swirl, and I am going to try my best not to torch it and to see if the colors stay how I want them to stay. Because oftentimes I do the twist and swirl, I torch it, all the white comes up and it looks disgusting, and then I have to swirl all over it again, which sometimes is in the plan, sometimes not. So, with that said, I'm using Payne's Gray. So this is going to be a darker painting because Payne's Gray is really dark. Pearl Sapphire Blue. You know what? I'm going to add in Pearl Electric Blue. These two are Arteza brand. I do not know what this brand is. It's either Arteza or Liquitex. I am not sure. And I made up a new batch of Mystery Red. I had Mystery Red at least a year ago, and it was the perfect red. So this is two different reds. It's all Arteza, and it's two different reds, and I only had a smidgen left, so I joined those reds, and then I added neon pink to it. So I think it was Bordeaux red. Actually, they weren't Arteza. One was Arteza and one was Soho. It was Arteza Bordeaux red and Soho something red. A really bright red. That really helps you a lot, I know. It was something red. So this will be a dark, it will have purple, yeah, it's going to be dark. I had thought about adding a different color because I really wanted to add orange, but I'm not adding orange because it never works out. Well, I shouldn't say never, but it often doesn't work out. This is a 2-ounce cup. yeah, I've been watching some more YouTube artists, and I have the woman who is making these silicone mats, and I do have a link so you can buy them. You'll get $5 off and free shipping, which I think will make them $34. And I'm not sure what size it is offhand, but it does take up pretty much my entire washing machine pan. And it's also fabulous for resin. But with that said, she has another artist who is also using that mat, and here's my paper towels. And so she sent me a link to that woman's art, and I would totally share it right now if for the life of me I could think who it was. Totally blanking. I am so sorry to you fellow artists because I would love to share your work. She does have a ton of followers, so I mean, so you guys probably have seen her work. I just can't seem to remember a darn thing. I just mixed this up, and I thought I actually had tried to make it thin, but it appears to be thicker than what I even normally do. So that was kind of a fail, but it'll still work. And I can't thin it now. I can thin it after this, but if I put thinned paint over this thicker paint, it'll just roll off it like water. This is a 10 by 20 inch canvas. I have put some new stuff on Etsy, but if you've been watching any recent videos and you like something, or you see it on Instagram or Facebook, give me a holler. I'm also thinking, my husband said I should do this, that to list things on Etsy and give the option of varnish versus resin. What do you all think of that? Obviously the turnaround time would be different. It would be, instead of a day or so, it would be, at least 8 days. Because the varnish, I would want to make it so it's not sticky. I do package. I never touch the bubble wrap to the painting because that will ruin it. So I would want to give it time. And obviously resin takes some time. And sometimes resin takes 2 coats if the first coat has any sort of flaw in it, which even if you are super, super, super careful, dust gets in, hairs get in. Sometimes when you're sloppy like me, and I had my finished pieces all laid out because I was going to list them on Etsy, and then I've been painting and cleaning and stuff in here, and I looked at that piece, and there was red paint across one corner that did not belong there on top of the resin. So luckily, resin is forgiving. I was able to, I just lightly sanded it, and the red came off, and now I just need to resin it again. I am torching out the bubbles right now. This paint looks really odd. There are divots in it. It looks like it had resin in it. Or not resin, I've got resin on the brain. It looks like it had silicone in it. I picked up white from the matte, and I have used silicone on some paints that have gone on there, but I wouldn't think that would affect this, but there's like little thingies in here that I'm just picking up. Try as you can, just like with resin. I don't work in a completely airtight vacuum, which would be awesome if I did. It'd be fabulous. Nothing would have anything on it, but it's not going to happen. All right, so here's the paint that's been sitting there. And now I have to think how I want to do it. So you can see there is, that looks like the Payne's Gray is underneath the white. Okay, I am going to torch it just to show you what I'm talking about. And I'm just going to do that little area. So you can see it underneath there. So Elise left it alone, and that's a great look. That's how I want it. But I will show you what happens when you torch. That is what happens. And it breaks it up, and it looks icky. That is not the look I want. So now I am going to go in and do my, and also you can see that torching kind of, I don't know what to call it. I don't know. You can almost see like, kind of like the skin on pudding that dries. That's the best way I can think of to explain it. I don't. I wish I had a better explanation. So these are Tezza paints, in which most of the ones in this are. They sell pretty well on their own, like CELL, not, well, they SELL as well, but yeah, I forgot the rest of what I was saying there, but they do sell very well, and so I don't add silicone. So now I'm going to tilt and see. Well, actually, I'm going to swirl. And I'm not really liking this so far, so I'm going to go back in. And make it kind of foggier. Need to, because I like that look. Now I can swirl. So if I torched right now, all this color underneath, there's a ton of color and there's a layer of white over it, would all come up with ugly cells. I am super curious as to what will happen without torching. Some of those colors are going to pop up on their own, but since it will be them doing it naturally, it won't look like it would if I were torching it. For one thing, it'll happen slowly and I suppose gently. Can you use them? That's an odd word to use, but I'm still not sold on the design of this though. Needs lines like those. I am actually going to go back in with the sapphire blue. Oops. Still not digging it. Not digging it at all. I'm gonna get a new cup. And I'm adding my Indian yellow. Because maybe that really is what it needed the whole time. Alright, so I've got Indian yellow, and with that Indian yellow, I'm going to add deep yellow. And I don't say it that often lately, but when I first started my videos, my mantra was, it's just paint. So experiment. Don't be scared. The only qualms I have with adding yellow like this is it looks like I poured egg yolk on my painting, which really grosses me out. And if you've been watching me the last few days, my big string pulls didn't work. This one I'm thinking might not work. But please take from this that don't give up. Just, you know, it's like writer's block, but with artist block. That is not good. Yellow is not the best idea. Yeah, no. Alright, I am going to turn you up. Normally I show me scraping it and stuff, but I realize that takes like 10 minutes and nobody wants to sit there while I'm doing that. So I'm going to turn you off for a minute. Actually, through here it doesn't look that bad, but it's kind of puke color. So be back in a minute. Alrighty, I am back, and I already coated the canvas with white. And I was smart when this 10 by 20 canvas fit perfectly. I was able to hold it over a can and just scrape all the paint off, so I don't have all that paint in my tray. And then I've been standing here forever looking at my paints because I just can't decide now what colors to use. So I've decided not to go with the red, and instead of Payne's Gray, I'm going to go with Prussian Blue. It is not as dark, but I'm keeping the yellows, so this will be more of a greenish piece than a purple piece. So I'm just going to use the same cup. You know what? See all these metallics and the cells popping up. I almost wonder. Oh, I'm getting out the straw. Yeah, I kind of completely changed courses on the style of this painting. And there's now like an overload of paint from that white that I did. But it's really pretty. Add more white. So glad I changed colors. I rarely like using green paint, but I like green when it comes from using blue and yellow. I usually don't ever start with green. Probably count on one hand the amount of times I've started with green. I love the areas where I added the white. And you just see the color running through it. Perfect balance between the darker areas. is a lot of paint on here. So I am going to torch it because it is so thick that I'm afraid if I don't torch it and I leave it, there's going to be air bubbles underneath because it's just really thick. But I don't want to tilt anymore. These sides where my dirty gloves were. Oops. Good, tilt it a little bit more this way. Slowly but surely. Kind of want it to come off on the sides. I've changed my mind. Actually, I still really want to. Sided, tilting over and up. hadn't really looked at the whole thing. So I'm going to tilt it up and then back down again. Seeing if I like the placement of it. Oh gosh. So glad I took my gloves off. It just wasn't looking right. Better to me. So quite a journey from the beginning, and I'm very happy with the end. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time. Bye.